Yo, what's good, gang? This is Ryan from Richie's Reps, and today we're setting up our praying mantis in his new naturalistic enclosure, so make sure you stick around. So we picked up our new praying mantis from a local breeder. When we got her, the breeder actually took the time to go over things with us for about 5 minutes, the care requirements, kind of what goes into taking care of these little guys, and she even gave us this little care sheet with her missing schedule, feeding schedule, and a couple of pointers, which is really cool of her and really helpful, especially since this is the first mantis that we're taking care of. This is what the enclosure is going to look like when it's all finished. I'm assuming you guys are here to see how we did it, so let's just get right into the build. Now our first step is going to be putting together these Zilla micro habitats. For the Chinese mantis, I'm using a 8 by 6 by 14 tall Zilla micro habitat. We put together 3 of these at once, 2 smaller ones for a jumping spider and the 1 big one for the mantis, and I'm really a big fan of how these get put together. You literally just click the pieces together, put a rubber band around it. The rubber band's nice and thick. It doesn't seem flimsy, like it's gonna break or anything. And it's really a simple build. We put together all 3 of these in 20 to 30 minutes tops, and I really like the way they look. And I'm a nobody on YouTube, so I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I'm just really a big fan and was pleasantly surprised with how they went together. Here's a look at all 3 enclosures put together, and now it's time to start filling out the mantis enclosure. So my first step, I'm going to start by cutting up this repti hammock. We used to use it for a baby corn snake, but he outgrew that pretty quick, and we haven't used it for a few years, so I figured it would be the best thing to glue to the top of the enclosure for the mantis to hang upside down on. And it's really important for them to have that because that's honestly where they're going to spend most of their time, and that's where they molt from, is from the upside down position. So you definitely need a good place for them to be able to hang upside down and have room underneath of them so that they can molt properly. Obviously do your research on that. This isn't a care guide for them, but it is important for them to have upside down hanging. Now I did struggle a little bit gluing this to the top. I didn't realize how quickly the hot glue was going to set up, so when I put a whole bunch on in the beginning, it dried before I was able to put the hammock on. So then I did this blotching technique. I just did a corner at a time, put it right down and let it cure for a couple seconds, and then moved on to the next one, and that definitely worked better. And then I glued the front right here, one, because I didn't like the little gap, even though obviously the mantis would never get inside of it. But number 2, I wanted to add a little bit of sphagnum moss along it to try to make it look a little bit more realistic, since the hammock didn't. Even though it is green, I did like the color for that, but yeah, it doesn't really fit with the naturalistic type of setup I want to go with, so I'm just gonna surround it with a little bit of sphagnum moss, which is a useful little trick I like that I used in a couple other spots on the build to hide the hot glue when I glued some of the branches and things in place. It definitely is something I like to help make it a little bit more realistic and just look a little bit better. The next thing I did was add some construction paper to the back and to one of the sides of the enclosure. I did this so he wouldn't get stressed out by what's around him, number 1, and number 2, because look at this little serial killer. Right now he's looking at the 2 jumping spiders while I was building his enclosure, and he just cannot stop trying to get to them. So since they're going to be sharing a shelf together, I figured I should put up some kind of blockage so he doesn't try to kill them the entire time that he lives there. Next, I put some climate decor in the enclosure, a fake plant, a couple branches, and a ladder. I glued them in place. I probably didn't have to do this, but I wanted to just in case something shifted or to eliminate the chance of something falling and potentially hurting the mantis. I also glued a couple branches to the sides of the enclosure for some extra climbing options. For the substrate, I used a topsoil and play sand mix with a little bit of sphagnum moss to help retain some humidity. I also plan on adding some leaf litter and some springtails to help act as a little bit of a cleanup crew, but that'll be down the line. Now, as you can see, that's pretty much all there is to it. We got the mantis in the enclosure, we put it up on the shelf, put an LED light on top for 12 hours on, 12 hours off day-night cycle. They definitely need that. They like it nice and bright during the day. I'm super excited to have this in our collection now. I can't wait to learn more about them. I can't wait to watch it grow. And once I get more comfortable with it down the line, I'll probably come out with a care guide as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Or as my 5-year-old would say,
my name is Ariel, and I came with my family, and we got praying mantis, and now we're gonna take care of him.
But anyways, if you just got a mantis or you're thinking about getting a mantis and you need to build an enclosure, I hope this video helped. If it did, I'll definitely appreciate it if you give it a like, and I'll see you on the next one.